Advantage Athletic Therapy, personalized rehabilitation programs with a whole body approach. Enjoy the podcast.
Dave Scott Hub Media. It's the February 2026 show with Barb, Healthy, Well, and Wise. I love the title. You're just, you're digging right in there. I just broke it down to this one word, enough. And I love the way you broke this word into 3 parts. And I want to give you the opportunity to talk about each part, and then let's sort of dissect it and then move on to the next one. So really cool
Okay.
conversation, Barb.
Yeah, this topic really had been rolling around with me for a number of weeks. And, it it settled in, and the importance of that particular word enough, it means so much. It can be enough time, it can be enough food, it can be so there's the fact that there's a level of satisfaction and contentment, and everything feels like enough. And how that feels in your body, like really, you know, thinking that through is, your heart feels softer, your body feels relaxed. You don't have that same level of tension coursing throughout yourself. And that's a beautiful spot to be. That's where, it may be you're sitting there and you're watching your grandkids play around you, and you can be quiet amidst the chaos of them being children. But there's that moment that, this is enough. This is all that matters right here before me. And just, we don't give ourselves enough occasion to experience that throughout the everyday in all aspects of our life. There's that enough when you feel like you're going to snap,
Yeah.
when your children are little, and the days where you feel guilty when you check on them, as they're sleeping in their beds, and thinking, how could I have been that frustrated? How could I have been, that irritable? But it's literally, you were at your enough for whatever reason, for whatever happened, for whatever support was or wasn't there. And some days we don't feel like we're enough,
Uh,
and that, it's a flex thing, like all things in life. And then,
do you
so
think,
we've got those 2 facets of
uh,
enough. And then there's which is, it's kind of a deficiency state, but there's also an excess state.
uh,
And those two, the hormone influences, the physiological responses of our bodies to either too much or not enough, are the same.
okay.
It's just how we come across. If something is truly exceeding our limits, in that anger is coming up and frustration and tension that way, then we're often in fight mode, or possibly frozen in that state. But if it's a true deficiency, it's almost a surrender, and it can be very, almost a depressive state in the system. But all states of enough are instructing us. And when we take time, when we take quiet, when we realize that we need and can assert our boundaries, we can figure these things out in all aspects of our life. And it's free. We don't have to get that from external sources. We just have to take 5 or 10 minutes in a day and allow ourselves that we can figure those things out about ourselves.
Yeah, and I think I liked your analogy for the first enough too, because I think, I have 2 questions on that. Do you think the first enough, which is a positive enough, that's realizing who you are and where you are, do you
Mhm.
think that takes time in life to get to that point? Or do you think everybody's at a different stage where they may find that? I think there's different aspects of your life where you go, "Oh, this is enough. Like this, I'm enjoying this. This is my moment with my family or whatever." But I wonder too if you, because I think I see enough positive enoughs now in my life as I age. I see it more. Does that make sense?
So I ask you, how many times in your life have you felt broken? At your knees, broken?
That's a really good question. I think I don't know. Once or twice for sure, I can say that I was like, oh boy. But I have this stupid resilience where I figure, okay, stop it, get back on the horse. You're going to be fine. You just gotta, you gotta try harder, or you gotta, you know,
Mhm.
you gotta quit letting other people control. So I think,
Right.
yeah, that's a really good question because, yeah, once you get, but that's the other enough, the secondary, right? But that first
Yes and
one,
no.
okay, that first enough where everything's good. Um,
Yeah.
do you find that more later in life? I'm just curious.
Um, it evolves. Um, eh, Definitely with going through this amazing counseling experience as well. There have been sort of
Waves.
fluctuations
Okay.
in, temporary brokenness as you're working through things that have held you back. But that brokenness, when we have to go within ourselves sometimes, and you're nurturing that glimmer of light within you. And the earlier that starts to happen to a person in life, really shapes their adaptability later in life. So, if you were to think of what age you were at when you
Yeah.
experienced that sensation of brokenness, so that's where we find our resourcefulness, our adaptability. It's that measuring stick, and sometimes that's faulty, right? Because people get stuck in different areas, but it's we can find that good form of enough in the everyday, even if it's just a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's before you get out of bed in the morning when you awake and you tell yourself that you are safe. And even though there may be areas in your life where there's not enough, maybe you're concerned about finances, maybe you're concerned about food, maybe you're concerned about the health problems that your or a loved one is experiencing. So there can be still things where you're feeling that tension and imbalance. But when we tell ourselves, because to just say I'm safe, none of us can actually really say that in this world. We can say I'm safe enough
Good point.
that the things that you have control over, then you are recognizing that you can accept where it's at and see hopes for, that day, that the future, whatever. But when nothing feels like enough, because take, for instance, somebody that is without a home in this weather,
Yeah.
especially for them, it might be enough today to be out of the wind.
Yeah.
That's all they need for today to be a better day for them is to
Yeah.
be out of that wind. And yet for the rest of us that we get so sucked in to everything, the chaos and the beauty too. I'm not saying that in any way we can feel like the world's a bad place, but then we're looking for that in the world. You can also look for all of the beauty and the good. And that can be your enough is to recognize that we've always had this turmoil, so just understanding what enough means to us and whether it's, take it just down to the subject of time,
Yeah.
take it down to is there enough support? Who are the people that support you? And once you start to explore that a little bit and reflect that on that a little bit. Sometimes what you think was the truth turns out that maybe that's not actually the truth, but it's what you see in the overwhelm.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. You've overthought this and the process has taken over and you can't allow yourself
Mm.
to see the
Mhm.
moment clear.
Yeah.
Underneath all three, enoughs, and I like what you just
Mhm.
said, and I wanna, and again, I'm gonna ask your opinion on this. I think the one word I saw to me that came to my mind when you brought up all three of these, the individual, like you said, the person that's maybe out on the street or, it's enough for today. I think underneath all those, even in the positive aspect of enough, is hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because without that, I think when you asked me that
Mhm.
question earlier, my mind went back to, okay, what made me think I'm not broken? or what made me think I can climb out of this? Hope.
Mhm.
I always went,
Yeah.
I think there's that little bit of
Uh-huh.
flicker of light in all of us, right? Somewhere that
Yeah.
provides
Yeah.
that. So in the categories of enough, in the three different categories, myself, I would probably look at it that way and say, okay, do I still have
Uh-huh.
that hope? You know, and the
Right.
hope, even in the positive enough, is so good, right? I hope I get to
Yeah.
experience this again. This was beautiful, right?
Right.
Or and then enough. Okay, I hope
Mhm.
tomorrow's better, right? And then the third, not
Right.
enough, because of the situation
Mhm.
you're in. You got to have hope that you can get yourself out of that too. Like you said, when the world's
Yes.
doing this to you,
Mhm.
which seems to be a big thing in society these days, obviously.
Mhm. Yeah, and so there's a level of acceptance there too, even if the circumstances are not what you visualize,
Yeah.
it's not forever. And when we understand that many of the things that we get so hyper focused on and feel are of such urgency, will it matter in 3 hours? Will it
That's
matter in 3 days?
that's
Will it matter in
yeah,
3 weeks?
that was in my
Is
head. That's what I was thinking as
yeah,
you were saying this, like, I was
yeah.
like, this is
And
an
and
interesting conversation that way because right?
it is because you have these epiphanies. And all we're doing is allowing ourselves to explore and reflect on that. And it's like, well, holy crap. Why did
We
I let it do that
yeah,
to me?
well,
Why that angst? Why that
mm,
and physiologically, when you start to understand, like all you have to do is think of something that is not enough or
yeah,
too much, and you feel that okay, where do you feel it in your body? Well, I feel it in my shoulders and my neck and my stomach and my legs feel heavy. And it's like, so hormonally and chemically,
yeah,
what's happening between your brain and body is it's like, okay, this saber-toothed tiger that's not really a saber-toothed tiger is threatening you. And your system becomes very acidic in
yeah,
that moment. Okay. So if you've just eaten or you were planning on having something to eat and you're suddenly in this mode and your digestive system just it shuts down because all of these incredible things are happening to protect you from this perceived
threat.
stressor.
Yeah,
And when we're in an acid balance like that, then the cytokines and the inflammatory molecules and all of those things. And so if this is happening all the time, every day, day
yeah,
in, day out, well, then if you happen to have heart issues in the family,
yeah.
you know? And it's like, well, it's genetic. And it's like, well, no, because if everybody in your family responded to
Stressed out. Of
stress like
course, it's
that,
genetic then.
that's not genetic. That's just,
What's going
if
on in that environment?
yeah, yeah. Like if everybody in your family has always eaten a whole food diet, being active, drinks
Yeah,
lots of water, make sure they get sleep, they're supportive and loving and, connected that way.
but you
And
said
then
back
you've
there
got
too.
relatives that, married into a family that's entirely different and
Yeah,
it's like, so yes, your genetics
do alter
can,
that.
but they're not bottom line, right?
No,
It's just yeah. So it's so interesting, but just understanding what happens in the body when you take a few minutes. It doesn't have to be your whole day where you feel
no.
content and soft and that gratitude, but giving yourself those breaks. And that's when you feel that fulcrum is doing this. So it's recognizing that. It's like, can I take that 5 minutes right this minute? Maybe it's just visualizing, maybe it's just, looking around the room that you're in and identifying 5 colors. That gives the brain a break. It takes it
Takes
out of that fight, flight, or freeze mode. Breathe, just feel what it is like to not take those rapid, ready to escape
first.
breaths. And yeah, it's enough it's a beautiful word. It's a beautiful experience when you start to really settle into that.
The, not enough, and you use the saber-tooth tiger analogy. I wanna expand on that because 99% of the time, if the saber-tooth tiger, sorry, let's say is another person and you're
Mhm,
concerned about what they're thinking, guess what?
uh-huh,
100% of the time, they don't care. It's not there. You're worrying about something that's it's not even an issue. It's not even in their vortex. I think we sometimes over from not enough or worried about what everybody thinks about us, and
Mhm.
nobody really gives a damn. And I hate to
No.
say it that way, but that's the truth. You need to worry about yourself first, take care
Mhm.
of you and your family. But
You
people
do.
get so wrapped up in that not enough end of it, that third category. And that's kind of
Mhm.
the way I broke it down. When you said that about the saber-tooth tiger, I would, yeah, the tiger's walking by you. It's not going to eat you. It doesn't care about you. It's got other things
No.
on its mind. So you
No.
can be, screaming and jumping up and down. It's
Mhm.
just going to walk by because that's not what it's about, right? It's not what they want.
It's not.
Ugh,
It's
so people
not.
get caught. And then all that physical elements that you just said explode. The
Yeah.
anxiety, the break, the fight, flight,
Mhm.
freeze, all those things occur for no reason whatsoever.
Right. And I think, we're going down a rabbit hole here,
Yeah.
but take just the family unit. What if somebody in that household is perceived as the saber-toothed tiger by the whole family?
Yeah.
Okay?
That's a
Their
good point.
their personality or whatever it is that's going on with them, because we do as families, we
Sure we do.
we're connected, right?
Right.
So if you've got somebody that has a volatile, potentially dangerous, destructive personality, and so you're always on guard.
Yeah.
And so, oftentimes it'll be okay, they're, right now busy berating or being abusive in some way to one family member. So they're sort of, if they're that saber-tooth tiger, they're sort of feeding on that. But so you're kind of safe, but you're not safe. But
Yeah.
you're always watching, you're always guarded. So I just,
Goes back to
if
that chaos
somebody, yeah,
that you just
yeah.
said. Yeah.
So if somebody is in a relationship like that really examine, do you have other possibilities? Like, is that really what you and your children need to be in? How are ways that you can, get help, be safe, because that's a reality as our perceived stressors increase, um, and people are struggling financially.
Yeah.
They are struggling in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So that volatility, especially if it's not talked about, right? If you don't have people
If it just lies there
conversing
underneath the
about,
undercurrent.
yeah. So it's a huge topic. It truly, truly is. But I think it's an incredibly important one. And again, it doesn't cost us anything,
No.
but it can give us clarity in life, which is so important. And in that calm, and we talked, before we started today about finding quiet.
Mhm.
And essentially, when you're exploring enough, you are also finding quiet. And that's where the answers are. If there's so much noise around you that, you're tuning into and not allowing yourself to step out of periodically, we can't make sense of things. We can't get those answers that we need to be asking.
Well, I loved near the end of your article this month, there's a great line, and, I thought it sets the tone. It's nurture your authenticity. And I thought, yeah, man,
Hmm.
that's taking that moment like you talk
Yep.
about and just who are you? Knowing who you are. And I think that goes again with as you age, you sort of figure it out. But it's a good thing to start young figuring it out because the sooner you understand yourself, the better off you're going to be
Hmm.
both emotionally, mentally, and physically, I think. So that's a great line in that. We don't want to give away too
Yeah.
much, do we? But
No, no, and I encourage, anybody that is in a role, um, with children, whether it's parent, grandparent, caretaker, whatever, is teach children
yeah.
the value of a few minutes of quiet. There's nothing as an adult, please give me a timeout. I'm really imbalanced today.
Yeah.
Like, I
I would
think of
really
so many
appreciate
times that it's just like, please give me a timeout. Please send me to my room. And yet, as a child, we, that was a punishment to be sent away from everybody. And it's like, no, what if we just, explain your behavior seems imbalanced right now and you need this time to collect yourself because of the way that you're affecting other people and yourself. And if it's not a punishment, but a permission,
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, and if we grow up, with parents insisting that they support each other that way, if they're at their, it's like, okay, surrender. I need that time. And yeah, so it's pretty cool.
It's interesting because before we went on air, we talked about sort of how our 2 articles this month in the February Hub sort of cross over each other because mine is on silence and just the value of it and understanding it and enjoying it. And
Hmm.
exactly what you just said is one of my thoughts is as a kid, you were timed out and you're
Yeah,
like, it was a bad thing, right? Like,
yeah,
and you're kind of
yeah.
like, oh, like you're like, we didn't really look at, maybe ask the child to explain themselves before
Hmm.
you give them, think about what you just did, right? I get that
Hmm.
aspect of it, but at the same time, maybe
Yeah,
if they explain it out loud, there's something else we're missing in this because
yeah.
silence shouldn't be looked at as a terrible, as a,
No.
boy, a punishment tool because if you grow up that way, you don't understand the value of it till later on in life and
Hmm.
how you can express yourself through it. Boy, I
And
love
it's
these
how
conversations.
we learn to be enough
Right,
for
exactly.
ourselves,
We're right back where
right?
we started, right?
That's how
Exactly.
we find being authentic to ourselves. And if you never have quiet, then you never learn what enough means and what you're made of.
How do people get a hold of you, Barb? How if they wanna have this conversation with you, how do they reach out?
Okay, so healthywellandwise.ca is my website. And you can reach me on my cell, 519-410-3544. Or please, and you can use that to text or call. And my email is barb@healthywellandwise.ca.
And you can read the February Hub, hubmedialife.com online, or pick it up at your local grocery store in Norfolk County. Thanks. Take care.
Thanks, Dave.